Hey guys, it's Godbars here, the self-proclaimed hip-hop historian, and this is the 317th episode of my series, where I grab a vinyl from my collection, talk about why I love it, what influence it has, and what its place is in the grand scheme of hip-hop. So it's definitely been a little while since I last covered the GOAT of alternative hip-hop on here. In fact, I believe Doom's most recent appearance was in my previous set of 2000s classics, where I discussed his Take Me to Your Leader LP from 2003, a feature-heavy release which came out under the King Ghidorah moniker. However, if you're remotely familiar with this channel, you may already know that Doom is by far the single most frequently talked about artist on the page. And at this point, I've reviewed pretty much every classic album he's contributed to the culture, from the game-changing work he dropped as MF Doom, like Operation Doomsday, Food, or Born Like This, to other masterpieces he put out under an alternative name, like Vaudeville Villain as Victor Vaughn, or Mad Villainy as Mad Villain, which was one of the various duos he partook in during his extensive and prolific career, where he teamed up with legendary producer Madlib. I also discussed Mr. Hood, the first LP where Doom sort of led the way on the mic, as it was his debut with the group KMD, where at the time he was performing under the name Zev Love X, alongside Onyx the Birthstone Kid and his late brother DJ Subrock. But the practice of collaborating one-on-one with a fellow MC or producer seemed to pick up the further he got into his career, teaming up with the likes of Gennaro Jarrell or Czarface. But outside of Mad Villainy, which obviously serves as the magnum opus in this game-changing career for most people, I think the most well-known and beloved album in this department is probably Doom's joint effort with Danger Mouse here, where they assumed the name Danger Doom and, in collaboration with TV network Adult Swim, came out with the adventurous, unique, and personality-filled debut, The Mouse and the Mask. I believe this is technically the first time I focused on a project by veteran producer Danger Mouse, but this is nowhere near his only important and innovative release, as not only was he one half of Gnarls Barkley, a duo that I feel like very few people fail to realize isn't just CeeLo Green. But while that's probably the undertaking that got the most plaques on his wall and put the most money in his pocket, he also teamed up with Black Thought of the Roots a few years back for the stellar LP Cheat Codes. And maybe even more notable than that was the extremely groundbreaking and ballsy undertaking, which is a mashup of sorts where Danger Mouse handicapped himself by only sampling material from the White Album by the Beatles, and flipping those into instrumentals, which he would then place behind acapellas of Jay-Z's The Black Album, thus ultimately creating the Grey Album, an experiment that, despite not even being sold for profit, and just having been released on the internet for free, definitely got this dude in some hot water with Capitol Records, since the Beatles is kind of considered one of those acts you just can't get away with sampling, though I believe Paul McCartney himself was actually pretty cool and understanding about it. And ultimately it worked out, considering the project got 10 times the attention Danger Mouse probably ever could have foreseen it getting. Back to the main topic at hand though, The Mouse and the Mask is a bit of a contentious pick in the supervillain's top tier discography, because while I think most Doom fans agree that it's an overall enjoyable album with way more hits than misses, I've definitely seen an amount of people who don't think the relatively frequent references to Adult Swim programming have aged that well, or they just found it a bit corny in the first place. I wouldn't say that it's necessarily my favorite aspect of the project, but I still feel like it's a quality I appreciate being there, because it's just so unique and gives such a unique flavor and personality to this thing. Plus, I think both of these artists excel when they have a specific theme and set of ideas to work their way up from. Especially Doom, who could make a trip to the DMV seem lyrically captivating just from his word choices and how he plays with your expectations. Of course, with a titan of schemes and wordplay of this caliber, I'd have to share one or two of my favorite verses with you guys, starting with the iconic track Sofa King, which Doomalay kicks off with, "Scared of a bunch of water? Then get out the rain. Order a rapper for lunch and spit out the chain. then kick a lungy off the tip of his Timbo, and trick a honey dip into a game of strip limbo. Odd, he couldn't find no remorse. A wink is as good as a nod to a blind horse. Of course, his technique was from a divine source, never knew the price of ice or what swine cost. One guy tried to bite the heat. That's when he discovered the other white meat. Oh, the one they hate so well. He sure keeps it psycho like the old Bates Motel. They came to ask him for at least some new tracks, but only got confronted by the beast with two backs. Knock, Mouse is a made man. Villain laid it down like the best laid plan. Velvet the cat, who the hell is that, near the middle? Got y'all, but it's not all bear and skittles. Prepare the victuals, got riddles and spittles, crystal clear to the jock or the tittle. Tisk, it's hot off the griddle. Came to take the cake whether it's a lot or a little. Kaboom! Doom is nervous large. You can tell by his blooming room service charge. Dark and tall to boot. The only thing was wrong was he was bald as a coot. Used to rent a van from Peter Pan to red and tan, and keep the human foot for his dead man's hand. This was when the mask was brand spanking new, before it got rusted from drinking all the brew. Stankin' too, pew, kept all his earnings in the bank and his shoe, spat what he knew, energy for true, to all fake rappers, 23 skidoo. Excuse you, any room in the class front? For a blast of the blunt, been shrooming since last month. Doom a human in the mask, I'm on the stunt. Danger zooming past, mad fast on the hunt. Keep the streets, we got the city needing conquered. Discreetly with the city till they be completely bonkered. The fans demanded it, handled it, swallowed it, his own brandishing, if only he could bottle it. I cut that one a little short so I could share another moment I adore here, this time off the song Mincemeat, where he comes in rapping, the villain ain't rhyming off bread alone, let him get some cognac, a mic, and a headphone. Smoke and mirrors, caught her in the mix, couldn't read the shorthand for mortars and bricks. If any negative thought linger, he let it vent. Wrote this one with his middle finger in wet cement. Did it on the sly, before he's gone bye-bye, spit it on the fly. Brush your teeth, rinse and gargle, a true nerd who messed with new words since boggle, and used slang and scrabble, rhymed with a northern drawl slang and babble, flossy pen jargon to break the world record, do a Faustian bargain and tape the girl naked. More spots than a leopard, then he had to stop, the block was hot peppered. Doom's knack for abstract and cartoonish imagery, along with his standard, insanely influential 4-bar flow pattern, shine over these lush and enveloping instrumentals. And while those are completely handled by Danger Mouse, we do get a respectable amount of colorful guest appearances, who leave memorable marks with their features, including Money Mark, CeeLo Green, Ghostface Killa, and Talib Kweli. I think I'm gonna leave Sofa King and Mincemeat out for my honorable mentions, because even though they are without a doubt highlights on the LP, I did read verses from both tracks, so instead I'd rather recommend other moments like No Names, Perfect Hair, Benzie Box, ATHF or Aqua Teen Hunger Force, Old School Rules, Basket Case, and Space Hose. Then when it comes down to my overall top 3 favorites, again not counting the tracks I mentioned earlier, I think I'd have to go with El Chupa Libre, The Mask, and Crosshairs. Thank you for watching my 317th video. Next up, I have a legendary collective that I featured in the form of select acts and artists, but this will be the first time I discuss the group in its entirety. So look for that one, and if you enjoyed, be sure to like, subscribe, and let me know what your favorite moments are off this legendary collaboration. Don't forget to have a great day, and I'll see you next time, okay? Alright.